Hello everyone and a warm welcome back to my Photoshop tutorial channel. And today it features Bruno Fernandes and the Europa League Trophy, and it's about blending him into this oil painting image, or this old portrait. And it's featuring Bruno and the Europa League Trophy, as Manchester United were drawn last week in the last round of 16 in the Europa League against AC Milan. So a classic tie of old. And yeah, I thought I'd do something a little bit different. I've seen this style quite a lot on social media for quite a few years now, and yeah, I thought I'd do a tutorial on it because I don't seem to see many that explain it at all. So without further ado, I'm going to get straight into it. So I'm going to press Command N for a new document, 210mm by 290, and this is A4 canvas. And yeah, RGB colour 8-bit and a white background. Okay, it's entirely up to you what dimensions you'd like to use. And I'm going to go to File, Place Embedded, and I'm going to select my image and click Place. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to resize it. Okay, so this is not going to be a basic Photoshop tutorial, as in the sense that I'm not going to be explaining every command. I'll explain what I'm typing and tapping away on my keyboard, as obviously as you guys can't see that, but I won't be explaining what layer masks do, etc. Okay, if you're brand new to Photoshop and you're just learning and getting started with Photoshop and you want to learn sports edits, okay, a playlist will be dropping up here on the right top corner now, and that'll have a big playlist of all my tutorials that I consider a basic, where I explain it all. So I do digress. So what I'm going to do is just get started. Okay, I'm just going to cut the collar out, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to place Bruno Fernandes' head behind the collar. So I'm going to hit P on the pen tool, make sure I've got path selected, and careful not to get this guy's ear in. I'm just going to paint down, click down around this collar. Okay, just for the purposes of the tutorial, I'm not being super accurate. Okay, when you do it or follow along, do try to be as accurate as possible. And one thing I have found as well, when you do make your image and upload it to social media, like Instagram, the image will get compressed as well, so that fine detail will get taken out. So close your path, click selection. Okay, feather radius 0 pixels, anti-alias ticked, new selection, click OK. So we've got our marching ants, as I like to call them. I'm going to press Command J, because I'm working on a Mac, or Control J. Okay, and if we get rid of that there, you can see we've got the collar out. And just go back a step, highlight this layer here, okay, and duplicate that as well by pressing Command J or Control J. And we can just get rid of this background as well. Fantastic. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we've got our collar. Okay, I'm just going to hide that a second, and I'm going to bring in Bruno Fernandes. I'm just zooming out a little bit there. So I'm going to bring in Bruno. I'm just going to drag him down. So one thing I noticed as well when I was making this tutorial, okay, what I did try to do is just get rid of him. I tried to get his head looking the same way as this guy in the portrait. However, looking back now, might not be as necessary. So if you have a player, okay, they could be looking straight on, I would say, looking straight on or looking to their left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out Bruno's head as well. So pen's already selected, path is already selected, and I'm just going to click around like that. Something like that. Okay, make my selection, same as before, click OK, and then press Command J. And with this Bruno layer with the main body, I can just get rid of that as well. And if I hide the Bruno head, okay, select your portrait layer. Okay, you should see your rulers at the top. If not, press Command R, and that'll bring them up. And then I'm just going to drag some rulers, or some guidelines, sorry, roughly to this guy's head, so it can help me size him up, something like that. And re-highlight Bruno's head. Press Command T for my transform tool. Command 0, sorry, as well, to zoom out. Wrong layer. Make sure you got Bruno selected. Press Command T. Pressing all the wrong buttons today. Okay, so we've got a transform tool, all right, and I'm just gonna hold Alt and just gonna grow him down, and I'm gonna try and size up Bruno. Now, I'm just gonna move him below the collar, and I'm gonna get that on show as well. Make sure you've got show. So we've got our collar now on top, and we've got head. And press Command T again, and I'm just gonna size up Bruno's head. Now, use my arrow keys as well. I'm just gonna make it so it fits in there. Might make him a little bit bigger. What I'm going to do is as well, I'm going to hold Shift down, just bring his head out a little bit. So if I zoom out, he's looking okay. Via my keyboard, I'm just going to again size him up till I'm happy. Okay, I'll go for something like that just for the tutorial. Really take your time, press Command H to hide those guidelines. Now hide the head, hide the collar, okay, and then select this layer here. So select your lasso tool by pressing L. If you see polygon lasso tool or magnetic lasso tool, okay, just hold it down, click it, select lasso tool, and we're just going to get rid around his head. And I'll show you what I mean in a sec. So I've used this technique a few times. I've only really started applying it since Photoshop 2021 came in. And I'm going to press Shift and Backspace, and we need to change that to a we need to rasterize the layer, sorry. Okay, I'm going to press Shift and Backspace. Okay, fill should appear, so select Content Aware, Color Adaptation, ticked, normal, 100%, click OK, and let it do its thing, and press Command D to get rid of it. Now, it doesn't look very good, but it doesn't matter because the head's going to hide behind it. And what this is going to do is this is going to hide it. So if I hide that layer there, okay, you can see where the head pops back in, and then it disappears. So that's how we're going to get rid of that. And I can still see a bit of his hair and stuff here, but once we add some shadow and shading, okay, that'll disappear. And like I said, when it compresses, it'll be gone. So it's not the end of the world. So we've got our Bruno head here. Okay, what I'm going to do now is, and this is quite a good technique for the oil painting. Okay, I learned this quite a while ago, but I thought I'd apply it onto this one. I'm going to hit B for my brush tool. Okay, what I'm going to do is I hold down on my brush tool. Okay, I'm going to select the mixer brush tool, and I'm going to click on this little arrow here. Select a soft round brush. Select the hardness to 80. Okay, and what we're going to do is make sure this is not selected, which is the loads the brush after every stroke. We don't want that, but make sure clean the brush after each stroke is selected. Okay. Now on this drop down menu, what I did is initially I had it as moist, but then I've lowered the effects down. So I've got wet 10%, load 5%, mix 30%, and flow 30%. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hide these other layers and the collar. So we've just got Bruno's face selected. I'm going to select a new layer just there, so a new layer pops in, and you'll notice, make sure I've got white selected just there. What I'm doing is I'm just blending them in, so it's giving it that oil painty effect. Now change the size. And sorry, one thing I forgot to say before you start painting, make sure you got sample all layers selected. I'm not sure if that works, but when I was playing around with it, I spent a lot of time playing around with this. These were the best settings that I found. And all you're simply going to do is just make sure you go along with the contours. So again, you can see there onto his cheekbones, underneath his eyes. You see how I'm following the contours of his head? And there we go, and his ears as well. And what this is doing is just blurring it a little bit. So I'm really going to take my time here, and I'll just talk you through what I'm doing as I'm doing it. So as you can see, it's smoothing it. So if I get rid of that there, you can see the difference we've made. And this is just going to help it give that oil painting effect. So I'm just being gentle. So like I said, when I used moist before, okay, it really didn't work. So with his hair as well. Use the bracket keys to change the size of the brush. It's almost giving it like a blur effect. So I'm just going to paint down here and on the neck as well. I'm not sure how much of the neck you can see. I don't think you can see this bit. And this is where I think the effect looks really well, is with his hair. So I'm just going to blend this bit here. Okay, and you can see it on this image, okay, it might be different on different players. I'm just smudging it slightly, and then with this as well, I'm just dragging it up every click. Now it's not going to look perfectly blended in like the same artist has painted Bruno in, but it's going to look near as damn it. So zoom out a little bit, and you can see where we've give it the effect. Just looking, have I missed anywhere? No, I think that's okay. So bring the collar in and bring that layer in, and you can see it's blended in. It's blended in a little. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clip it as well, and then you can see the effect that we've had there. What I'm also going to do is select your head layer, select new layer so it's automatically clicked. So I'll call that paint, and then this new layer I'm going to call shade, and black selected. Go to your brush tool and just make sure you select brush. I've got the opacity at 21, the flow at 21, around about 20. I'm going to change the blend mode to, let's try soft light. And in fact, let's just put it back to, in fact, let's just see what we did, what I did on here. Yeah, I used overlay. That was the one. So go to overlay. And we'll whack it up to 100, see how that works. So 100 is a little bit too strong, so drop it down to about 75-ish. I'm just going to paint around his moustache as well. Just adding a small amount of shade in there. And I'm going to make it a little bit bigger and just paint it on. So it's accentuating. Yeah, that looks okay. Okay, so we've got some shade, and what else I'd like to do is add some noise as well. So in fact, before I do that, I'm just going to add a little bit of Doge and Burn. So new layer. Okay, go to Edit and Fill. Okay, change it to 50% grey. Opacity 100%. Click OK. Select Overlay. Select your Burn tool. Okay, and you can come in and we can just burn some lines on. I don't think it's going to have much of an effect. Okay, I can see a little bit of effect, but what we'll do is we'll add some. So with the burn, sorry, I was using Midtone's exposure 15, and then with the Doge tool, come in and just paint on. Yeah, that's looking okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some noise. So to the head, in fact, again, sorry, before we do that, okay, select the paint layer at the top. We'll put this on above it all and go to color balance. Make sure it's clipped. Midtones, okay, I'm just, because if I look at the skin here, it's got like yellow tinges. So I'm just going to drop this down. It's about 8. Let's add a little bit of red. to 3, so you can see there. I think this makes it quite a good effect. And we'll add it to the shadows as well. Add some yellow. Add some red. We'll do the highlights. Highlights definitely want a little bit of yellow. So you can see there that tinge that we've given it to try and help it blend in. You can have a little bit of a play around with that, see what you think, see if you can make it look better, especially if you're using a different player. And then finally, go back to select your head layer, go to head, select the head, go to filter, noise, add noise, and I've gone for 3%. Okay, if you don't like what you're doing, before you do this, turn this into a smart object so you can go back and edit it. But I was happy with 3%, Gaussian and monochromatic. And click OK. And there is Bruno on our head. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back down to this this layer here at the bottom. Okay, lasso tool, press L, should already be selected because we've just used it. And I'm just going to paint around here. And because we've changed that, make sure you go back to content aware. All the settings should be the same as before. Click OK. And press Command D. Now what I liked about this is if you bring in the Europa League Trophy and then you place it where you would like it, and what I've done is I like it just being cut off the image, if that makes sense, so it's not a full picture, so it looks like it's not the main subject, because obviously the main subject is Bruno, and I'm happy with that size. It's quite a large trophy in real life, I believe. Press enter. Now what I like about this trophy as well is we've got a green canvas in the background here, so this has worked quite well. We've got reds from the red cushion, the red cape, I don't know what you want to call it, and we've also got that already in this photo, in this PNG file, so all these images will be linked in the description below, so that works quite well. And we're going to help it blend in, so we're going to call this trophy. Hit enter. Okay, I'm going to hold Command and select a new layer. That's going to drop a new layer underneath the trophy. I'm going to hit B for my brush tool, and we've got opacity 75s already, and what we're going to do is just going to paint a bit of shadow underneath. Zoom out of that. Happy days. If it's a little bit too strong, just drop that opacity down. And what we can do is as well, call that shadow. With the trophy we can do the same thing as before, so a new layer, go to your brush tool again, select the mixer brush tool. All your settings should already be in there. Now I don't really want to get rid of too much detail, so what I'll do is I'll just blur it off a little bit in parts, so where it's green there, just going to drag it up, maybe on that forward bit and on these spikes as well. I just want to help them blend in, and on this marble bit as well at the bottom. Okay, I want to keep the flags, and I want to keep this detail here as well. If you really want to, you can blend around by these guys, but like I said, once it gets compressed, people won't really see that. So if I zoom out a little bit, go for something like that. I'm going to clip it. You can see we've made a small difference, but yeah, and then go back to this layer again, and then I'm just going to get rid of all this. So go back to the magnetic lasso tool, the lasso tool again, and I'm just going to paint round carefully. Okay, shift and backspace, content aware, 100%, yeah, click OK. Now, it's not going to look great, so press Command D. I'm going to go through it again. And we're just going to slowly get rid of it. Shift and backspace, click OK. There we go, you see how we're slowly getting rid of it. Shift and backspace, click OK. Press Command D. Now if you want to tidy it up a little bit more, okay, you can use the patch tool. So if I go for something like that, okay, and then you can either use it as a source or destination, and then just drag it down. Just have a little play with that as again. So let me just go through that again. So if I drag around a big spot there, okay, use the source, you can bring it up there, press Command D, and it looks better. Like I said, as you can see, you don't really tell it when it looks when the eye looks at it first time. So what we can do is just keep that layer selected there. We can bring in the Manchester United logo. Okay, just come out a little bit. I'm going to resize it. Now if you notice that chair, it's at a little bit of an angle. And go for something like that. I'm going to right click, I'm going to click perspective, not distort. I'm going to click perspective. Just going to raise it up a fraction. Click enter. Position it where you'd like it. And I'm going to drop the fill down to something where it looks pretty faded, but we can still see it. 28, 29%. Press Command 0, come out. And there is our image. Did I finish it off with anything? No. There we go. There is our image of Bruno. Like I said, it does get compressed, so you might not see the finer detail. So if you zoom in, okay, you might just be able to see what looks like the wispy beard from the guy from before, but it looks okay at a glance. Remember, just take your time, okay, with the painting effect as well. And give it a little bit of noise and give it a little bit of colouring. So we added some like yellow, which looked okay. And again, just took out a little bit of detail on the trophy just to help it blend in. But again, take your time with that one. Don't forget to add your shadow. And yeah, there's our oil painting effect of Bruno Fernandes. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you learned something. Yeah, thanks for watching. If you did enjoy it, please hit like. If you're new to my channel and you enjoyed this tutorial, please go check out the rest of my content and consider subscribing. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in a tutorial very soon.